अस्सलाम वालेकुम नाज़रीन, आपके साथ दोबारा से आपकी खिदमत में मौजूद है हिना जुनेजो, आपकी सहेली, आपकी दोस्त। सहेली प्रोग्राम के साथ जो कि हम एवरी मंडे चलाया करते हैं बिटवीन 5 to 6 PM। नाज़रीन, आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है वो बहुत ही बेनिफिशियल टॉपिक है। आप जानते हैं कि जिस तरह से हमारी कम्युनिटी में हमारी बहनों का जो रोल है, हमारी ख़वातीन का, हमारी माँओं का जो रोल है, वो एक ग्लू की तरह से है कि वो पूरे घर के अफराद को, पूरे हाउस होल्ड को इकट्ठा करके रखती हैं और जोड़ के रखती हैं। और इसी तरह से जो हमारी जनरेशन है, जो हमारी यूथ है, वो भी बहुत इम्पोर्टेंस रखती है हमारी ज़िंदगी में, क्योंकि हमारा आज का जो जनरेशन है, ये कल के फ्यूचर बनेंगे, ये हमारे कल के डॉक्टर्स, इंजीनियर्स बनेंगे, साइंटिस्ट बनेंगे, न्यूरो साइंटिस्ट बनेंगे और हमारी कम्युनिटी को डेवलप करने में हमारी मदद देंगे। इसी हवाले से आजकल देखते हैं हम जिस तरह से कि पेरेंट्स बहुत ही परेशान होते हैं कि हमें किस तरह से अपने बच्चों को डेवलप करना चाहिए, किस तरह से, किस रास्ते पे हमें उनको गामजन करना चाहिए, प्रमोट और इनकरेज करना चाहिए, कि ताकि उनकी जो लाइफ स्किल्स हैं न सिर्फ वो डेवलप हो बल्कि उनकी क्वालिफिकेशंस भी डेवलप हो। तो जब क्वालिफिकेशंस की बात आती है तो हमें पता है कि यहाँ पर बेतहाशा बेहतरीन स्कूल्स और कॉलेजेस एंड यूनिवर्सिटीज जो है वो ओपन है, जहाँ पे हमारे बच्चे आराम से जाके तालीम हासिल कर सकते हैं। मगर जब बात आती है उनकी लाइफ स्किल्स डेवलप करने की, तो आज हम ये जानने की कोशिश करेंगे कि क्या कुछ ऐसे इदारे मौजूद हैं हमारे पास इंग्लैंड में और ग्लोबली कि जो कि हमारे यंग एडल्ट्स की लाइफ स्किल्स डेवलप करने पे फोकस्ड हैं, उनको एम्पावर करने में फोकस्ड हैं और हमारी खवातीन को भी एम्पावर करने के लिए फोकस्ड हैं। जैसा कि आप जानते हैं, both the roles are extremely important and go hand in hand. So, inshallah, without further ado, we will start with our today's program. And the topic for today's program is young adults and women's empowerment whilst promoting the message of peace and harmony in terms of developing the community. So, let's welcome our first guest speaker, Mr. Robin Marsh.
Welcome. Hello.
Hello, Robin.
Hello.
How are you, Robin? Great to have you on board, Robin.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
You're welcome. Welcome anytime. So Robin, I'm just going to quickly introduce you and then we're going to watch the video just to explain the agenda of UPF or the vision of UPF, if you like. As soon as the video comes to an end, we'll take you back on board again, right? Ji Nazreen, so Robin Marsh is the Secretary General for UPF, Universal Peace Federation for UK. Robin has been involved in human rights campaigns, interfaith activities, sustainable development goals, and empowerment of women and young adults. He and the Universal Peace Federation team have been expanding the UK Foundation by via a regular program of events and many partnerships. So without further ado, welcome on board, Robin. So now, Robin, we'll quickly put the video on just so that everybody benefits and has a deeper understanding of what kind of initiatives is the Universal Peace Federation involved in.
Since its founding, the Universal Peace Federation has been deeply committed to building a world of peace. Thanks to the hard work of our international chapters and our partners, our presence and impact have continued to grow and develop.
This movement that the UPF has tried to put together in various nations, various regions, various continents, has now gained tremendous ground.
The UPF's international leadership conferences continue to inspire prominent figures with the founder's vision of one family under God. We hold seminars on good governance, human rights, character education, and the importance of spiritual values.
Thanking the sponsors, Universal Peace Federation, for putting together this really very important conference.
Universal Peace Federation is a committed, indefatigable, and steadfast friend of the United Nations and an advocate for family values.
The four main areas of UPF's work are interfaith dialogue, strengthening marriage and family, education, and service. In each of these areas, we aim to support and supplement the work of the United Nations and create networks of peace builders from all walks of life.
In the past year, UPF carried out thousands of programs in over 100 nations, many of them in support of the United Nations mission.
We are grateful that the region took upon themselves to celebrate and to augment the work of the United Nations.
You see women from Africa, from Asia, from Europe, the United States, from all over the world coming together, having the same goal, the same ideas, that we can make a difference.
UPF also organized a series of educational programs in support of strong marriages and healthy families, including a Family Day partnership with the United Nations Office of the Family.
In addition to our work as an NGO at the United Nations, we are working closely with the African Union. Each year in New York, we organize celebrations of Africa Day, and our chapters around the world organize their own programs.
I thank you very much, Universal Peace Federation, on this very happy Africa Day. Let us rededicate ourselves to our partnership in the pursuit of peace and progress for all Africa's people.
To mark the anniversary of the UPF founders' call for the creation of an interfaith council at the United Nations, UPF held a series of consultations on this issue.
Liberals and fundamentalists in all three faiths must build bridges and attempt to avoid future confrontations. An interreligious council at the UN could assist them by holding conferences, workshops, etc., designed to reduce tensions.
Interaction with religious leaders is very full of love and heart and a desire to inherit the rich tradition and to cooperate, collaborate into doing something great.
Our Office of Peace and Security is addressing the interplay between hard power approaches to peace and soft power approaches that involve civil society, faith-based organizations, and Track 2 diplomacy.
I worked in the UN for more than 30 years. To see such a large effort from the grassroots to support the UN, I feel that to reach peace, it is possible in my lifetime.
They are calling each of us to look deep within ourselves, to reflect upon the world situation and how UPF can continue to be that agent of change that the world so desperately needs.
Hey, welcome back, Robin.
Oh, thank you.
That was a fantastic video, a very holistic video.
Yes, it's true. It's a big vision.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Robin, let's take the first question from you. What is the vision of Universal Peace Federation, and what are its main objectives and activities locally and globally? If you'd like to touch upon that, please.
Main vision is this sense of humanity being one family, that we are one human family. We have many different branches, we have many different colors and shapes and sizes and clothes and so many differences, but that brings a richness and a vibrancy to life. And we believe that the divine source, divine spirit, our God, our creator, our Allah, whatever name we apply is common and not a point of divergence, but bringing us together. And the closer we are to that divine source, then the closer we are also to each other. So the role of interfaith and the role of inclusiveness of the different perspectives of different faiths, it helps us to understand also our Creator better.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so in terms of its main activities, when it comes to young adults and women empowerment, if you'd like to expand a bit more on that, please.
So Margaret will talk quite extensively, I think, about young people, but I think the role of encouragement of giving the legacy of what we've gained onto the next generation is wonderful, and also to pick up and to support those who are not as appreciated by our current society and cultural values compared to what God's vision is. So in a sense, to try to see from the Creator's viewpoint and to appreciate each other's value as God's child, whether it come from a group which is not so empowered or not so appreciated in the world at this point, or is suffering from some issue. For example, we did a lot of work with conflict minerals with the Congo. So Congolese women were suffering because that was the worst place in the world to be a woman, was the eastern part of Congo. Human rights violations, rape as a weapon of war, so much suffering was going on. So to highlight those injustices and to bring those awareness of those injustices in the UK Parliament, in the European Parliament, also in our own venues, that was a long-term campaign and a very rewarding one, because we have somehow through that feel the pain of also of God within those situations. So I believe the sense of humanity being one family is that we take upon each other's difficulties and problems as family members and support and help each other to right those wrongs and those injustices.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that, Robin. Thank you so very much to, be able to share the vision of UPF. And also it's lovely to see your passion, how you've come a long way, with UPF, and you've been proactively involved with so many different activities and initiatives that help bond people together, help people come together regardless of the fact, whatever ethnicity, race they come from, whatever whichever faith that they belong to. It's really wonderful to see how people like yourselves are proactively, coming together to help people become inclusive with each other and just come together to support each other for the greater good. Thank you so much for coming on board today. जी नाजरीन, अब हमारे हम next guest speaker की तरफ चलते हैं. So our next guest speaker for today is Margaret Ali. Again, she is the director for Universal Peace Federation and is tremendously passionate about spreading the message of peace and harmony. She values diversity of culture, ethnicity, and different faiths, and she brings people together and provides them an equal platform to express their views on any given topic, so they feel heard, they feel special, regardless of who they are, where they come from, as long as there is a message of peace and coherence underpinning their own message. Margaret's particular passion lies in empowering young people and women. So without further ado, let's welcome Margaret on board. Hello and welcome, Margaret.
Hello, how are you, Hina?
I'm good, thanks, very well. How are you?
Good, I'm ready to talk to you.
Yeah. Let's take the bull by the horn then. Right. So the first question for you, Margaret, would be, can you please share some information about the Young Achievers Award that has been in place for 12 long years? And the fact that the kids are awarded at the Houses of Parliament, for their community service. So what an appreciation, what an achievement for them. Would you like to share something about that, please?
Yes,
it's a
definitely.
Great opportunity.
Yeah, yes, definitely. I think in UPF and also in Women's Federation, we really want to appreciate the good things that young people do. The reason being that they don't have such a good, if you like, good reputation, So therefore, we extensively ask our ambassadors for peace and our friends to recommend people that they know are working in the field. So we started this long time ago, but now it has been our greatest pleasure regarding the work. The work that we do is choose people who have done things well beyond their capacity. I mean, their duty, their school, their home. They really are helping community, college, whatever they're doing to actually help them. They have a result to show. I must say, one of the most inspiring things that people see is these young people talking about their work. They have 5 minutes to explain their work. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. Yeah. Okay.
I'm so
Yeah. So
sorry.
you were saying we've got.
They have 5 minutes to explain their work, but we've already vetted them. The key point is that not only do they receive something, but they give so much back to us, joy and knowing that such people exist. I mean, the fact that ambassadors, parliamentarians come to give an award to their constituents is a very good thing. Number one, they get surprised that there's such young people exist. But number two, the young person probably sees his MP for the first time. I mean, the age gap is between maybe, the lowest we've had is 16 until 26, 29, 30 even, because they are still working for the goodness of mankind. Now, what happens is they receive their award and they're so energized that we started thinking that they asked us, why don't we work together afterwards? So that became a beautiful tradition. Of course, it requires a lot of hard work. It requires a lot of calling and bringing and doing things together. But the result is so rewarding because young people by themselves, with our help, and Robin and I, and also our Birmingham group really helps us a lot as well in this area because we have lots of good young people in Birmingham. We actually give them a safe atmosphere where they can work together and encourage them to stay altruistic, to keep doing things they ought to do. And they by themselves picked up mental health situation in young people that's doubled, trebled, quadrupled even during the last decade, maybe more. But now with the COVID, it's even worse. So they did a special project by themselves and actually made a recommendation to do a petition. And the petition was received by government, and they gave us a response which was very appropriate, very adequate. So this was a great thing. And then all the people that have they haven't talked much about their mental health situation, they started talking. Why? They found a good, safe atmosphere by their peers and by ourselves. So this is very important. Now, recently, they decided to speak out because of COVID situation, to kind of tell us what they did during this COVID time, what they learned. Was there something good or bad? And they did extremely well, and it was a very good event, I would say. But within that, what is the worst thing that happened to two or three people is the racial issue, that Black Lives Matter, or and then they really talked about it, and it touched our hearts. So they suggested that we do a follow-up meeting, which we'll have next Tuesday at 6 p.m. It is for racial harmony. Creating harmony between religions, races, everything is our job. To bring them together. I think whatever UPF does, what it does best is bringing people together. And these people meet each other, they learn from us, they learn from each other, and they start working together. Now that is the victory. The victory is not that UPF is the greatest. The victory is that UPF can make this happen. And it is very, very good and very, very important. And now we're having another kind of proposal for the youth things. They're really excellent programs. So please, if your audience knows of people who have done great works in London, in England or Britain, United Kingdom, they're most welcome to recommend. We do it almost not almost every year, but except this year. But this year we probably may do it later because Parliament is closed. But the beauty is that Parliament and parliamentarians come. One anecdote I want to tell you is the deputy what is it? Mr. McDonough is the deputy exchequer, yeah, of Britain, not deputy, but shadow. He said he's very busy. He can just come and give the award for the, and then he has to leave. He stayed all the time, from end to end. It was amazing, and he also had to testify. I don't know, in Birmingham you would have known very well our friend and also Patricia and David's friend and our patron, Lord Pearson King. He actually said the best thing that UPF does is this. Of course, it's because he cares for young people, but he also was very keen, listening to everything that they are saying, because it is invigorating, encouraging, and at the same time, it gives us hope that we have good young people in this world. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the second point, did you want me to say anything else about women?
Yeah, I was just wondering, Margaret, is there any set criteria for the young adults to qualify to move on to this achievement scheme?
Yes, they have to, the people who recommend them, they have to write something to say why they think this person can take this award. But then the person involved, the young candidate or awardee, nominee, has to write down everything he has done in his young life, yeah, where he did, what he did, etc. And this is to do something beyond themselves. It's not just for their own family or even for their own tribe or for their own, but it must be for their community. It must be for their nation. It must be for more than that, even people that went abroad and helped people. So it must be something that is well beyond their sense of duty or their everyday thing to do. And please come, and you will really appreciate what I mean. But after that, we have more than the required number of people. We will choose the best people. And every time I'm very sad if somebody is left out, because they're all very, very good candidates. Yeah. And then after that, the more they work with us, the more they become senior, young achievers, or they do work. For example, one of the young achievers that is helping us now to do special meetings that he knows about, hackathon and things like that, which will take place on Racial Harmony on Tuesday evening as well. So therefore, they set themselves up as people that can be useful, not only to society, to their work, but to us as well. So it's very, very good. Yeah. I don't know if...
Excellent. So I'm just going to translate that quickly for our viewers, if you permit me, just half a second. जी नाजरीन, तो जिस तरह के मार्गरेट ने भी आपसे तस्करा किया कि यूनिवर्सल पीस फेडरेशन जो है वो हमारी यूथ की स्किल्स डेवलपमेंट के लिए एक यंग अचीवर्स अवार्ड के नाम से प्रोग्राम चलाते हैं हर साल, और वो इनकरेज कर रहे हैं कि हमारी जो यंगर जनरेशन है वो सामने आए. They need to come forward and participate in such initiatives so that they get an all-rounded approach and get the feel of what it feels like to develop yourself. Specifically ऐसी जगह में कि जहाँ पे बच्चे मुख्तलिफ ममालिक से इकट्ठे होते हैं, मुख्तलिफ एथनिसिटीज के बच्चे आ रहे हैं, मुख्तलिफ कल्चर्स के, मुख्तलिफ रिलीजन्स के बच्चे इकट्ठे होते हैं, एक दूसरे से आके मिलते हैं, सीखते हैं और फिर लाइफ लॉन्ग फ्रेंडशिप्स बनाते हैं और फिर आगे चलते हैं एक दूसरे के साथ इंटरैक्ट करते हुए, एक हेल्थी कंपटीशन को लेकर आगे चलते हुए. तो बच्चों के लिए जब उनको ये अवार्ड्स मिलते हैं, स्पेसिफिकली पार्लियामेंट हाउस में जब पार्लियामेंटेरियंस आके उनको ये एजाज देते हैं, उनकी सेंस ऑफ अचीवमेंट जो है वो बढ़ जाती है, उनको सेलिब्रेट करते हैं आके इम्पोर्टेंट लोग. तो जाहिर सी बात है कि उनकी जो इंट्रिंसिक मोटिवेशन है वो बहुत ज़्यादा boost होती है, and then that then becomes like a foundation or a stepping stone for them to then prove themselves and keep pushing themselves forward, achieving their higher goals in life. तो दोबारा से इंशाल्लाह मार्गरेट से जो है वो हम अपनी गुफ्तगू जारी रखेंगे. So over to you again, Margaret. In reference to women empowerment, you have been celebrating two major events: UN International Women's Day and UN International Day of Violence Elimination Against Women. So what is the objective of celebrating these two big events?
Basically, I think we bring together people from various cultures, it's true, but also at the same time from grassroots and from top even parliamentarians that show what women have achieved or what they can achieve, and advise the public in general how to actually make women get into politics, this, that, the other. And they really encourage from top to bottom, everybody's there being elevated. So people can see, can also tell that, oh, I must also do this. I'll give you an example. Robin reminded me that there was a woman that came to this event, young woman. She came to this event many years ago, and years later she wrote to us and said that she changed her major from whatever it was to politics because she wanted to know if she could make a difference in politics as a woman. It's wonderful, isn't it? Even this one news that we heard, it's great, but I'm sure there's many things like that happen. But the other thing that we want to do is to bring in elimination of violence against women. We bring all different parties that are involved in this. Different people speak about how they help, etc. Now, many people know people in trouble, but then they can go back and say, look, I know somebody who does this, and here is his number, and help. And it is very important that women don't forget who they are. We are women of dignity. Now our Women's Federation is doing dignity seminars, for example. But we are women and we are people of dignity. We have to keep our dignity. We cannot just look at people who are being, abused and treated badly by their people, by whoever. It's not on. We have to say finally a full stop. There must come a time where will have enough force of people that can bring that full stop issue that was with children. Do not torture or abuse children, full stop. We should do the same for women. As you know, in our event, it came up. So it's all very important. It's not just talking. It's bringing people together, making things together. For example, we have a partner, which I think, that is helping a lot of domestic violence victims. So we work with them. We give them a safe place to work, and we give them people that can give them coaching, etc. I've even recommended you, So therefore, it's very important. It's very important that we become catalysts and facilitator of people getting the need that they need to have.
Absolutely.
The things that they can. So, but next time maybe we can talk more if I'm bringing such interested parties to your program about the main issue of domestic violence. It would be good.
Definitely, Margaret. Definitely, because being women, I feel as though it's not only our, it's not only due diligence. I feel as though it's our responsibility, specifically for women like myself, who is a survivor. I have been in a DV, environment for 12 long years. So people like ourselves need to come forward and help and support other women come out of it easily as well. Because what matters is at that point in time, the entire focus of that woman goes towards the experience that she's going through, and she can't think through how she can lift herself back up and move on in life. So she's literally not thinking about the possibilities and the probabilities and the fact that if one door closes, many other opportunities, many other doors are going to open up for them. So people like ourselves who are out there working as a preventive mechanism, need to perhaps be more available for this cause to go and play full out and contribute and be able to give back to the community.
Absolutely.
And help these women that, hey, I've been in a similar situation and this and this is what I did to bounce back on the surface. And obviously not saying that one person's, problem would be everybody's problem. Each person's challenge or problem is unique to them. But similarly, one person's solution may not be the best fit for everybody. However, how would you know whether it works or it doesn't unless you don't try it? So it's our responsibility, absolutely, to go play full out, be out there and create a momentum, create a movement of these solid, strong women out there, empowered women who are there to, educate the next generation. As I was mentioning earlier on to our viewers, that women are like glue for the entire household. They bring the whole household together, and they're basically nourishing vice gerunds for them to then go out in the community and develop the rest of the people and help each other, regardless of the fact which ethnicity, which background they come from. So on that note, thank you so much, Margaret, for all the beneficial information that you've shared with us.
Hina, you're the right person.
नाज़रीन, जैसा कि आप जानते हैं कि अभी अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हमारे पास हमारे 2 और गेस्ट स्पीकर्स मौजूद हैं, तो अब हम अपने तीसरे गेस्ट स्पीकर की जानिब चलेंगे. Our third guest speaker for today is Mr. David Earl. Welcome on board, David.
Nice to be here. Thank you, Hina.
You're welcome. So, David is the Director for Universal Peace Federation for the Midlands region in UK. David is particularly active and involved in interfaith cooperation activities and has a keen interest in values and character education. Wow. As one of the ways of community development, David has organized a number of youth services locally and internationally. So let's welcome David. Hey, David. Back over to you now. So let's take the first question. David, I'm curious to know, would you like to share a bit about your passion for interfaith activities that you're rolling out and promoting the agenda of peace and interfaith and harmony?
Well, it's a big area, and it's a fascinating area, and particularly in some of our sort of Western cities like London, Birmingham, where we have the whole world, gathered together. I feel it's a very beautiful kind of project to or area to get involved in for some of the reasons that Robin and Margaret have already talked about. Building better community relations, both in a positive sense and also when we encounter difficulties, problems, then we're in a better position because we have those community relations to tackle them so that things don't spiral out of control or we, revert to type and start looking at each other with fear or prejudice. So I like interfaith work for that reason, but also I like interfaith, especially with young people, because there's an element of the unknown. When you bring together people from different cultures, different faith backgrounds and so on, you never quite know how it's going to go, no matter how much you plan. Say I've planned youth projects. I like that element of the unknown, and also in a positive sense, often there's a kind of a divine intervention or a divine spark. Things will happen that you have no idea were going to happen, especially with young people. I like that element. It's like the sum is greater than the parts. The whole is greater than the parts, because there's this kind of divine element. It's like an anointing, when people come together for a good purpose. So I've experienced that so many times with young people. Amazing things have happened beyond the project that you planned, with the young people, with the consequences of that project. It's amazing. So yeah, that's partly why I'm involved in that, and also particularly with young people, because they are energetic, they're dynamic, they're open, they want to do something, they want to get their hands dirty, and they're open to learn and become, leaders of the future. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, agreed, 100%. So then, along the lines of values and character education, I know that, you're keen to educate children and help them understand their higher purpose and their values. What is the process of educating them along those lines?
I guess there's two ways. There's the kind of more academic side of character education, we have a wonderful character education curriculum, which is being used in different parts of the world. So, for example, I think it was beginning of 2018, I went to Senegal, and UPF co-hosted, together with President Macky Sall and the Senegalese government, an amazing convention where we brought representatives from 50 African nations, ministers of state, ministers of education, and we presented and showed them our character education curriculum, which is online, and then they had the opportunity to study it and go back to their countries and see if they would like to actually use it in their respective nations. So I found myself speaking on a panel with the State Minister of Education from Nigeria, the Deputy Minister of Education from Lesotho, and literally the whole of Africa was there at the highest level. So that's one way, more the academic side, but then the service projects we have allow young people to learn by doing something, by coming together, trying to do something for the public good. The youth projects that we have, it's called Religious Youth Service, then it has two kind of main purposes. One is to do something for the public good, to build a park or a nature trail or something for the local community. But then in the process, the young people become like brothers and sisters, as Robin was alluding to earlier. You know, they connect at a deeper level than just their skin color or their ethnicity or religious background. They literally become like brothers and sisters. And it's such an empowering experience that they feel, well, if I can do this here, say in Birmingham, I can go back and do it in Pakistan or, you know, Japan or wherever I've come from. It has a multiplying effect. That's also what I love about this kind of work, especially with young people. Yeah. So education, more theoretical, but also the practical, both important.
Yeah, so basically a rounded off approach, and also setting precedents that if they've been, you know, churned through a specific process before, they know what it takes to come out on the other side of the fence. Then if they've been able to do it here, wherever they go in the entire world, they can do it again and keep on sowing the seeds of productivity and progression for everybody out there whilst they're setting examples. Excellent. That's a great initiative, David. Thank you for sharing that information. And if, you know, if somebody wants to join in, you know, become a part of these activities, where can they find you? How can they find you?
If they connect with ourselves or Robin or Margaret in London, also on our website, we publicize things on the UPF website internationally and nationally. Then if a project is coming up, then we can let young people know where it is. Of course, now with the lockdown, it's a little bit different scenario. But these projects have taken place since 1985, several hundred all over the world. And I'm sure we'll be doing a lot more. So when we get up and running again, if people want to know them, they can connect to us and we can let them know.
Okay, cool. Excellent. All right. Thank you, David. Thanks again. Right. So viewers, our fourth guest speaker for today is Patricia Earl. Patricia is the Women's Coordinator for Women's Federation for World Peace since 1993. She is also the founder of Women's Peace Meeting, which started in 1993. And I have personally attended these meetings and have really enjoyed the element of diversity, the fact that, you know, it's such an open, safe, non-judgmental space. With the last time when I attended, I remember there were women from, you know, over 30 odd countries together under the same roof, and it was just so beautiful to see, you know, everybody connecting at a deeper level with each other. Each one of them had something common to another, and it was just, you know, the case of connecting and then continuing for the rest of their lives. I mean, I'm, you know, connected to most of them, and how many meetings have I attended so far, you know, so we've come a long way, and we're synergizing and complementing each other, you know, and all of them are very, very actively pursuing their passions in life, and I think that's the common ground between the most of us. So, yeah. Right. Okay. So What basically Patricia is doing, she's inviting women from all walks of life in that peace meeting. They come together and rejoice and celebrate their identities, their wins and their losses, which of course are learning lessons for everybody. David and Patricia, as you can see, make an adorable couple and a great team together. They promote peace and interfaith activities. And over to you, Patricia. What would you like to talk about women empowerment and your peace meetings with them?
Yeah, thank you so much, Hina, for inviting us. Yeah, it's just very, very humbling to be here and to be able to share about our work. Yeah, it's true. When you see, if my husband wasn't there, I wouldn't be able to do the work I'm doing, really. It's really my support. Because in fact, I'm not such a confident person. I'm not. Even to talk like that, I feel very nervous. But I love to talk about the peace meeting because I feel it's such a long journey we've been doing. It began in 1992 there was a conflict in Bosnia, a terrible conflict, and at that time our Women Federation, which is a sister organization of the UPF, the Universal Peace Federation, so we have similar aims, but more applied for women. And in 1992 there was this conflict in Bosnia, and women from all over Europe decided to pray for peace in Bosnia. And I opened my house for the first time, and I invited a few friends, and we joined that chain of prayer. And after 40 days, something happened. And I think the neighboring country began to help. And I just felt in my heart, the power, of women prayer for women and young people and children victims of war. And that's what motivated me and gave me the passion to begin that Women Peace Group. So we've been doing it for, 27 years. And in the beginning, faithfully, we would meet every month, the 21st of each month, because the 21st of September is the day for peace, so we adopt that day. And only the last few years, we met every 6 weeks because we become quite a big group. We can be sometimes 120 women coming together from across race, culture, nationality, faith, non-faith, for peace. And in the beginning, it was more ecumenical. It became interfaith with time. And we had really, truly a melting pot of women, as you could see. And but also, there's something very special. We put aside all our difference, and we come together with one heart for peace, for human rights, for justice. And I believe when women come together with that heart, it creates such an amazing energy and empower one another. So this is very simple to explain, and it's not so complicated, but it's very deep. And so we can be sometimes 50 different nationalities in the room. It's like a mini United Nations. And the third Muslim, third Christian, and third all other faiths or no faiths. So it's quite really truly interfaith. And what happened in that meeting, I never planned anything except the speaker, really. It's really on the spirit of the moment. And so usually we listen to voice of women talking about their country where there's conflict, and to try to find somebody from there to share about their story, which is very powerful to listen to somebody's story and also suffering. And also, we can listen also of women who are dealing with issues in society, women issues, family, youth, integration, like social, racial, religious integration. And so we create awareness like that. And then afterwards, there's a time when we share with one another. And it's a very important time because that's a time when we can build friendship with each other and we can empower one another with goodness and keep our idealism alive by listening to each other. And also, really, we can feel the commonality of all faiths. We share the same joy and sadness and cycle of life. And that brings us very close to each other just by sharing our heart with one another and create a safe place where we can share deep things with one another. And it really is also teach us to be humble, that we can learn from each person or each faith, and that God is everywhere. And then the last bit, we come together, we have a quiet time of meditation or prayer, so people can read from their scripture or reciting a poem or sing a song, but it brings everything nicely together. And if there was any issues, because sometimes we speak about peace meeting, it can be sometimes challenging, you know, because there's so many different type of people there, and it requires sometimes a lot of forgiveness and compassion by being there, you know. And so this quiet time in the end is a time when you really feel God's presence, everybody feel peace in their heart, and then we have something to eat together and we socialize. And this aspect of building friendship is very important, I think, because it helps us to take away fear and prejudice towards another race, towards another religion, by making a friend. And through the eyes of a friend, it's a communion of heart. We don't even see anymore. We don't put each other in box. We just feel a human heart, especially as women. Women is to carry a lot in their life. And then afterwards, we always try to do something practical. So we don't feel it's enough only to talk or to pray, but we need to do something. So many times after this meeting, we pass a donation box around and people are moved to give something. Or we had different projects that we've been doing, helping all kinds of different situations with refugees and homeless people, and also a lot of issues for women with forced marriage, you know, domestic violence, trafficking, gun crime, many really hot topic. And then women are moved in their heart that they want to do something to help. So that is something I think very important, you know. And then from that peace group, we had a wonderful project. We built an orphanage in India for untouchable children, and everybody worked together, really like interface in action. And we work hard, you know, church, you know, mosque, and you know, synagogue to bring money and to build that home. And in fact, David organized a youth project there in the beginning, you know, our project. The young people built the foundation of the home. So it was really nice to involve the young people, the moms, and then afterwards the moms sponsor children there. And this project has been going for 15 years, really. And now it's more self-sufficient, but still we are helping the older children, you know, at university. Yeah, so this is a long journey. But I always feel, you know, with the help of God and the help of each other, we could make it. It's a collective of effort of women really working together, and the consistency is very important. And this aspect of compassion and love and forgiveness, and yeah, involving more and more young people, you know, and yeah, anyway, to try it also the practical aspect of it. Yeah.
Your passion is lovely. It's very empowering, Patricia. You yourself, Margaret, all of you, great inspiration for me. You know, I consider myself to be extremely lucky if I'm even being, you know, able to surf in a similarly long journey the way you guys have. But yeah, before we wrap up the today's program, would you guys like to give any specific message to the viewers, women, young adults? Margaret?
Say that salam alaikum and namaste and good evening. I feel that women particularly and young people should have hope. They should not give up, because we are people just like them and we can work together. There are people who care for them, you know. And like Robin said, if we think that we are one family under God, how can we not care for the people who are suffering? Young people, old people, women particularly, you know, we have to do something about it. The good news is maybe our region is going to do something with Pakistan as well. So hopefully we'll have much more. We will have much more things to say to your viewers in the future, that we are helping UPF Pakistan. Yeah, I hope this will work very well. But also, I would say that it's not just Pakistan. We are really for the whole world. And why we do what we do is important. I think I have found out that the second thing is that one family under God. The second is living in service of others. I have found out that by living in service of others, I have given my life a meaning. You know, I'm living a meaningful life. So everybody can do it. It's not our property, you know. And we don't want to be just praised. We want people to do it. If you just go and help a next door neighbor, and if you don't know someone because he's wearing a hijab, just go and say, why do you wear it? And how are you? Who are you? In England, we can do that also very much still, although Britain is one of the best, I would say, multicultural country. But particularly in Birmingham and London. But I feel that I want to tell your viewers, whoever they are listening, a young person, you can do something. You can easily get up and help something. I met an 11 or 12-year-old Vietnamese girl who, with another 11-year-old Vietnamese girl, started doing young fashion and started teaching younger people to do young fashion to make money to help, victims of something or other. It's wonderful. So therefore, we have to give confidence. And my father used to say particularly, Margaret, you can do whatever you want to do. You can become whatever you want to become. So if you get this kind of encouragement from parents, from your community, you will be able to do things. So please, I would say to the people, do not despair. There are problems. Do connect to us if you want through Hina, but also do think that you can do something, because we can. Together, the world will be a better place. Yeah, and try to live in service of others, and you'll be very happy, I'm sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for a beautiful message, Margaret. God bless. Thank you. Patricia and David, any message from you? And specifically, David, I would like to hear your comments in regards to women empowerment. Any specific message?
Well, I've obviously seen over the last 27 years the value of women coming together. And we feel that women have a unique role to play, not necessarily in taking positions of responsibility, but certainly influencing. History has been dominated. The history of politics and power and war has been dominated by men, and we need to restore the balance. Things are out of balance. So women are the key players in that, in terms of bringing compassion, forgiveness, and these kind of qualities into the equation, and influencing things at the highest level. But I think that the thing is, we need to do it together. We need to empower each other. So the peace meeting provides that platform, and I think UPF creates that platform where we can come together and make that influence, because sometimes by ourselves we feel a little bit, it's not so easy, and especially we often hear so many negative forces at work in our world, or the media tends to focus on the negative for understandable reasons, because it sells newspapers and so on. But fundamentally, people are good, and we need to help especially our young people keep their idealism alive, to dream big and really believe in people's goodness, and by coming together with like-minded people, as we try to do in UPF and the Women's Federation, then that's what gives us the encouragement, the strength, the power to continue and to make a difference.
Yeah, and perhaps I can add something.
And how effective has Patricia been in promoting?
Order your Qurbani with Muslim hands. It will reach these people here.
Alongside your own Qurbani, why not give a prophetic Qurbani? The Prophet ﷺ not only fulfilled his personal obligation, but offered a second Qurbani in the name of those who could not afford to give.
All of these people here, you can't count the number of people here. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and each of them will feed across these days of Eid.
From £35, revive this sunnah. Visit muslimhands.org.uk.
This is the moment. A new start. Now the UK has left the EU. Time to set our course as we transition to our new relationship. Businesses, retailers, makers, creators, travellers and bright minds in technology. We all need to plan ahead. Check the guidance, make the changes, get going.
एक बार फिर कुर्बानी का वक्त आ पहुंचा है। ये अहम फरीज़ा यूके इस्लाम